Hello, third grade. Welcome to your first recorded ELA lesson of the quarter. So we're starting with our first Wonders unit. So our essential question for today is going to be, what can stories teach you? So we read for different reasons. Sometimes it's for entertainment or just for fun. Sometimes it's to learn something. And there are some stories that may inspire you about an idea. So before we get started on Bruno's new home, there are some words that I want to review with you because you might know some of these words and then there's some you may not be sure about. So our first word, ached. So think of the word headache, earache, muscle ache. So this just means that something on your body might be causing you pain. So when you have a headache, your head hurts. If you have a tummy ache, your stomach hurts. Earache, your ear hurts. The word concentrate is similar to being focused. You may have had teachers tell you before that you need to concentrate or you need to focus. It just means that you're staying focused on something. Discovery. So when you make a discovery, you're finding something new. So if you're on the beach, you might make a discovery of different seashells like these two people are doing. Educated. So when you're educated or you're going somewhere to be educated, like this little girl here, she's going to school to learn. So educated is very similar to the word learn. You're trying to learn something. Okay? The word effort, it means that you're trying hard to do something. So like this person here is learning how to ski. It takes a lot of hard work and effort. So he's working very hard. He's trying very hard to do something right. The word improved, it means to get better at something. Okay, so like this boy here is playing soccer. Sam's soccer skills improved with practice. So he's getting better. Inspired. So when you're inspired by a person like this girl is, my grandmother inspired me to learn to knit. It means that she made you want to do something, or he. Or maybe a story could even inspire you to do something new. Satisfied. It basically just means that you're happy with something. So I am happy and satisfied with the good job I did. So you're good with it, you're happy with it, you don't need to do anything else with it. It means you're satisfied. All right, now for today's story, it's called Bruno's New Home. The genre is fantasy. So because this is a fantasy, that means that what you're about to read is something that could definitely not happen in real life. Okay, so it's all about imagination. Again, our essential question is, what can stories teach you? We're going to read how one story taught a bear an important lesson. So I'm just kind of looking at this picture, trying to get an idea of what I might be about to read. He looks cold to me, like he's wearing a scarf, he's got a hat on, and I see these blue lines here. It kind of looks like it might be wind. And I'm looking around him and I'm seeing that the trees have changed color. So I'm thinking that means it's fall, possibly. So, and he looks cold. And what I know about bears, just tapping into my previous knowledge about bears, I know that they hibernate when it's cold outside. So typically they're supposed to gather a bunch of food and store it in a cave somewhere because they can't handle cold weather. So, All right. So knowing that, let's get started with reading. Okay. Page 1. Also, side note, this little button here means that you can hear the book read aloud. So if I'm not doing a live lesson with you and I've just assigned this to you on Wonders, click this and it will read to you. All right, now we're going to get started. Bruno shivered. A frosty wind blew through the forest. Bright red and orange leaves danced around the trees. His paws felt like blocks of ice. It was almost winter. Bruno needed a warm, safe place to hibernate. So, like I just said before, hibernating, it means that they sleep through the whole winter. And he needed it now. Bruno moved slowly through the woods. He grumbled and growled to himself. Finding a new place to sleep was harder than he thought. Bruno climbed up a small hill. He hiked around a pond and walked on a path. No place was right. Finally, he made an exciting discovery. So he found something new. Okay, so already I like how this story is very visual. So when you visualize a story, you're picturing it in your head like it's a movie, and this story does a very good job of that with the details. Bright red, orange leaves danced around the trees. I can see that happening in my head. His paws felt like blocks of ice, so I could picture him being very cold like he is over here. Next page. Bruno spotted a cave in the side of a rocky hill. It was perfect except for one thing. He couldn't fit through the opening. It was blocked with a pile of dirt and tangled roots. So again, I can visualize that, but the pictures definitely help too. Bruno sat down to think, I'll just dig out some of this dirt and make the entrance bigger, he thought. Then I can finally get to sleep. Bruno dug and dug with his huge paws, but the dirt was packed down hard. It took a lot of hard work and effort. He pulled and pulled at the tree roots. The roots were strong and too tough to rip out. Bruno stopped to rest. His paws ached. They were red and sore. Suddenly he heard a loud sound. Crack! Bruno turned and quickly saw a small squirrel eating a nut. He stopped eating and smiled at Bruno. You look like you need help, said the squirrel. Bruno sighed. I've been trying to fit into this cave, but it's hopeless. I've been digging and digging, but I haven't improved the opening at all. I'm Jack and I can help, said the squirrel. But you were too small, said Bruno. Jack told Bruno to sit down and rest. I'm going to X this out because now I can't see it. Bruno sat and yawned as Jack scampered away. So that's another word, scampered. It means that they kind of are moving away from you quickly. So just a side note, a few minutes later, he came back. What you need is a book, said Jack. Reading can help you become educated. Books are filled with knowledge. He handed Bruno a thick red book. Bruno moved to a bright sunny spot. He put on his glasses and tried to concentrate on the story. He paid careful attention to the plot. So this word here is going to be important because we're talking about story elements today, and plot basically just means what is the problem in a story and what is the solution. So that's a word that you need to remember. The story was about a lion and a mouse. The lion thought the mouse was too small to help him. One day, the lion got caught in a net. The mouse chewed the net's ropes and helped the lion escape. Well, the lion in the story learned an important lesson, said Bruno. I think I did too. The story inspired Bruno. The mouse had sharp teeth, and so did Jack. Jack could help. The new friends made a fine team. Jack chewed through the thick roots, and Bruno dug out the dirt. They worked together all afternoon. Finally, Bruno could fit through the opening. Are you satisfied and happy with your cozy new home? Asked Jack. I sure am, said Bruno, and I learned something too. Good friends come in small packages. Okay. So, under Make Connections here, we're going to talk about this a little bit. Talk about how the story of the lion and the mouse, about the story of the lion and the mouse. How did it help Bruno solve his problem? Okay. So again, what I just said, the plot. of the story. So the problem is that Bruno needs a place to hibernate, right? And he finds a place, but it's all covered up with sticks and roots, and he couldn't get that opening big enough for him to fit through. So that's the problem. Now the solution is that he meets a squirrel named Jack right here, and the squirrel teaches him about a similar story, which is the lion and the mouse. The lion gets caught in a net and he's trapped, and then this mouse comes and chews through the rope and frees him. So Bruno learns that, oh, okay, so this squirrel might be really small, and I may not think that the squirrel could do much for me, but it turns out that Jack did. Because Jack has sharp teeth. He can chew through things, but Bruno's paws are perfect for digging. So then he figures out his solution. So together they worked and got the opening big enough for him to fit through so he could hibernate. So right there, I just told you the plot of the story. You're going to need to remember all those details when you go to answer the reading comprehension questions. Okay? Now, I talked to you about visualizing a little bit. This story is really great because it gives so many details. When you visualize something, you're picturing it in your head like a movie. I like to describe it as a movie. So like this passage at the very beginning, it said, Bruno shivered. A frosty wind blew through the forest. His paws felt like blocks of ice. Because they use so many details, you can literally picture it in your head. Okay, now we're going to talk about character a little bit. A character's actions and feelings make the events in a story happen. Traits are the special ways the character behaves. Okay. So just as an example, we're breaking down the character of Bruno here. Again, you need to know this for answering the questions. So what does Bruno want or need? He needs a new home for the winter, right? How is he feeling? Well, he's cold, tired, and grumpy. Actions. So this just means what did he do in the story to try to get what he wanted? Well, he was trying to make an opening bigger for him to fit through, right? So then he tries, but it doesn't work. And then he learns something from that. Okay. And then breaking down traits, this is basically just who is he? Right? So who is Bruno as a character? Well, we know he's a bear. We know that he needed to learn something new, and he did. He learned that friends help. So now that we've reached the end of the story, we talked a little bit about character and plot and visualizing. You should be ready to answer those reading comprehension questions. I'm mostly just going to ask you about the story elements. So story elements are setting, where a story takes place, plot, which is just the problem and solution, main characters, which there's only 2 in the story, and that's it. That's really all I'm going to ask you about. So attached to this lesson, make sure that you find the questions. There's only a few of them, and you answer them. And that is it for your lesson today.